All right, guys, so in today's video, we are going to be talking about Greatsword Dagger. This is going to be my Greatsword Dagger guide video for you guys. A lot of you guys have been asking me to put a Greatsword Dagger build together because some of you guys may know, some of you guys may not, but I am a Greatsword Dagger main on KR, and I've been a Greatsword Dagger main since day one, despite playing SNS Greatsword on global. I will link the SNS Greatsword video for you guys if you do need an SNS Greatsword guide video. I just posted one recently. I will link that in the description below. But yeah, this is going to be a beginner's guide video. Hopefully this helps. I'm not going to go too crazy on this one. It's going to be similar to the SNS Greatsword one. And if you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below, or come catch me on Twitch because I'm streaming Throne like actually 12 hours every single day. It's kind of crazy. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. And before we begin, a quick word from today's sponsor. A lot of you guys follow my channel for not only MMOs, but also news on new releases. And the next major release we have is New World Eternum. Set to release October 15th, New World Eternum is an action RPG set on the supernatural island of Eternum, where you'll experience a vast open world introducing you to tons of exploration and quests. Start your adventure customizing your character to your personal preference and spec them out with any weapon at any time with New World's classless system. When setting foot in the beautiful world of Eternum, you'll have the option to experience your adventure all the way through solo or co-op at any time. PvE and PvP content are also both available for you to experience, giving you more freedom on how you wish to play. Crossplay for PC and console is also available, so regardless of what system you and your friends are on, you'll be able to group up together. New World Eternum releases officially October 15th, available on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and of course, PC. Links can be found in the description below. Okay, so let's talk about the skill build here. Now, keep in mind, I do have double Tevent here. I've got the Tevent Greatsword, and I have the Tevent Daggers. And this definitely does change up the playstyle a little bit, okay? But I'll try to walk you through this as best that I can. Now, first and foremost, you're going to notice I'm taking Iron Point Parry. I would not recommend this unless you have Tevent Daggers. What Tevent Daggers do is they allow me to reset the cooldown on Camouflage Cloak if I kill a target within 5 seconds of coming out of stealth. Okay, so if this ability is on cooldown, if I kill a target 10 seconds after I'm out of stealth, this will not reset the cooldown on Camouflage Cloak. It has to be within 5 seconds, further emphasizing the speed that you need in order to execute targets. If you do not have the Tevent Dagger, I would highly recommend taking Block Blade here, the Dagger Q block, excuse me, because when you perfect dodge an ability or a Fury attack, you gain stealth, and in the early game without Tevent Daggers, this is very important. So I would highly recommend taking Block Blade. Also, this is a PvP guide, but little PvE side note, you should definitely take Block Blade if you are having mana issues. This is fantastic for getting mana. If you want maximum DPS, you do go Iron Point Parry. The reason why for my PvP build, I'm going Iron Point Parry is because this ability is it's very, very strong. And again, I can reset my stealth. I don't really have stealthing issues, so I'd rather take this because not only does this deal damage, but the big value for this is that it stuns the target that tries to CC me. If I perfect block your Fury attack coming in, you actually get stunned and I can attack you. So it's extremely powerful in that regard, and you also get buffs and whatnot, but the stun is the big thing. Now, if we're going through the abilities here, I'm taking Valiant Brawl, we're taking Precision Dash, we're taking Stunning Blow, Guillotine Blade, Ascending Slash, and I'm going to be going over the combos here in a little bit. We're taking Shadow Escape, which is this ability right here. This is traded. Some of these abilities might look a little different. Phantom Smokescreen, Devastating Smash, Death Blow, Camouflage Cloak, of course, Frost Cleaving, and Da Vinci's Courage. You're going to notice when I go to my arena build, I replace my Frost Cleaving for Will Breaker. I will explain why when we get to the skill specialization section. Excuse me, it's been a very long day. The passives that I take, these three right here: Robust Constitution, Vital Force, and Cold Warrior. These are a mandatory must across every build. I take Raging Frenzy because this is my GVG build. This is good. I take Indomitable Armor because this makes me a lot more tanky. And these three last pass from Dagger are mandatory: Assassin's Instinct, Wrathful Edge, and Shadow Walker. Some of you guys might be wondering, Kanon, why are you not running Inject Venom and or Thunderclouds and taking Destructive Fang? The reason why I don't is because you don't really need it, especially at the end game. You're going to be one-shotting targets, and running Inject Venom and Thunderclouds, it applies a weaken to a target, and against bow users, they have something called Barrier, Blessed Barrier, I think the names are always changing. Let me double check this right here. Devoted Shield, as it's called in KR. This is probably gonna be called something different in NA, but this ability right here, they get a massive shield that has no internal cooldown, and this keeps getting applied at a 10%, or as you can see, 11% chance to continually get applied every time they're weakened. The best way to proc it is by having Inject Venom or Thunderclouds. So I don't want to apply this weaken debuff on bow users who are my main targets, because it will give them a huge shield, or potentially give them a huge shield that could potentially not allow me to uncombo them. So that's the reason why I don't take it. All right, so let's talk about the skill specialization here. I do not take Valiant Brawl. I don't take Cruel Smite, because as a Greatsword Dagger, your job is to go in, execute fast, and leave. So all of your damage needs to essentially be stacked into Guillotine Blade and into Death Blow. But to go through this one by one, Precision Dash, I'm taking Bind here, extremely important. This is going to allow me to combo targets straight into a prone without using a stun. Range, this is huge. This is going to allow me to gap close on targets within 29 meters. That is your threshold. Anything under 30 meters, you can gap close on them at least with this passive right here. So that's what we're going to take. Stunning Blow, we're taking the cooldown down. We want to have high uptime. We want to be able to get that combo back as fast as possible so we can move on to the next target here. We're also going to be taking Skill Damage Boost. I do not take the effect duration, because especially in large scale, it's kind of pointless. Especially in endgame KR, you're stacking attack speed, and when you stack attack speed, you don't need that extra second. You need to do everything within a few seconds and get out. I would consider taking this in tier 1, however, because attack speed isn't as available, so keep that in mind. When we go into Death Blow, we are taking this here. I'm not taking the cooldown reduction on this, because this is more of a large scale build, and I need to take points elsewhere. My job in large scale, especially with a 7th Greatsword, is to set up AoE bombs, AoE nukes, and this is a single target skill. I don't really feel the significance of this cooldown reduction here. Simply because, again, you're nuking targets usually with Guillotine, or setting up nukes with Devastating Smash for large-scale PvP. Definitely take this if you can, but you can't take everything. Therefore, I've given up this to take the rest of the abilities I'm taking, that I'm getting. Next, we take Frost Cleaving. I take this right here. This is going to change Gaia Crash into this 360 AoE ability or skill. This is very, very good. I'm also going to be taking attack speed here, because this 15% attack speed increase, along with Da Vinci's Courage, which I do take, this is going to give us quite a bit of speed in large scale PvP when I'm trying to set up my large scale PvP combo. Next, we go into Ascending Slash. This is going to allow my next ability to absolutely juice. Same with Stunning Blow. I feel like I actually missed this. Stunning Blow, I take this because it allows you to juice damage on the following ability, which is usually Death Blow. Ascending Slash, this ability right here is essentially doing the same thing. I'm also taking the cooldown down, skill specialization to allow me to better line this up with things like Guillotine Blade, and also just to prone targets a little bit faster. Effect duration, I want the target to be on the ground later. Now, if you're wondering, Kanon, I'd rather not take this ability and take like this cooldown down on Death Blow. That's totally fine. Okay, there is some flexibility with this build, but this is what I prefer. This is what feels good to me. Ascending Slash is going to be your ability that essentially prones your target, allowing you to deal extra damage on your Guillotine Blade, which is the last skill we're going to go over. Devastating Smash, most important ability when it comes to large scale PvP. This is going to allow you to set up big AoE nukes, and if you have a 7th Greatsword, each stun that you get is going to proc a 7th pool, or I guess like a 7th purple pool below the target that deals damage equivalent to Ascending Slash. I'm going to increase my odds of stunning them by taking this, and I'm going to increase the stun duration as well by taking this. Mandatory. Last ability we're taking, Guillotine Blade. This goes without saying. This is your hardest hitting skill. If you can get a set devastating smash into a Guillotine Blade off in large scale PvP, you are going to feel fantastic, especially if you have a Greatsword, if you have a Tevin's Greatsword. We are taking this ability that juices the damage. We want the cooldown to be down, and we're also taking this right here, just so you know, in order to get the AoE to proc on Guillotine Blade, the attack has to either heavy hit or critical hit, which is why there is a even bigger emphasis and focus on stacking heavy hit when it comes to Greatsword Dagger, or just Greatswords in general. When it comes to the dagger skills, Shadow Escape, we're taking this as well as the range. This is going to give us about 18-meter range on our Shadow Strike. In large scale PvP, this is very important to take Shadow Escape, because if you engage with Shadow Strike, Shadow Escape, this specialization allows us to disengage by using the skill again. So we go in, burst the target down, and then escape. This is, even with a Tevin's Dagger, very important to take, I would say. And Camouflage Cloak, we take the duration +2, because when you're at my stage, if you have double Tevin's, you have the Tevin's Dagger and you have the Tevin's Greatsword, essentially what this duration allows you to do is it allows you to stay in stealth until your entire Greatsword combo is back up. So I will have my Stunning Blow back up, and my Ascending Slash back up, and my Guillotine Black back up. These extra 2 seconds help that, because this build that I'm going for right now in the current endgame tier 2 it does not have a lot of buff duration. If your endgame tier 1 build has a lot of buff duration, you can remove this specialization and put it elsewhere. And believe me, there are a lot of options. I would just encourage you to just go in there. You could literally throw it in. You can throw it in this. I could take the cooldown trait from Death Blow. There's a lot of options. I could take the heal from Da Vinci's Courage. A lot of different options. Personally, I would probably throw it in the cooldown with Death Blow, just to match things up a little bit better. If I'm a little bit more solo skirmishing, I would definitely put it into Da Vinci's Courage and get the instant healing here. Now next, let's talk about the arena build. This is my Greatsword Dagger in the arena, and I want you guys to understand that my build in KR will be a little bit different, mainly with the Will Breaker skill specialization, because in the current KR endgame, the hit evasion differential is about 300. So my melee hit versus melee evasion at the end game, it's around 300 to 500, depending on how geared you are. And that is the reason why I take Will Breaker. I take it mainly to reduce the evasion if this lands on the target, allowing me to have a higher hit rate on targets in the arena. In NA, the hit to evasion differential between players that are actually sending it melee evasion and players that are sending it hit, it's too large. So I would not recommend actually taking this. I would probably prioritize something else, but you could always take this if you do have an insane amount of hit. And like, let's say you're able to get 1700 hit on your Greatsword Dagger build on NA. If you're able to actually get that, something like this would be beneficial, because this would allow you to essentially hit targets that are around 2000 melee evasion, and that's anywhere from 2000 to 2200 is going to be the maximum amount of melee evasion people are going to have at the end game of tier 1. Just wanted to preface this section with that before we got into this. First, we're going to take Precision Dash. Same thing, same explanation, nothing to be said there. Stunning Blow, we take everything here except for Aggression. So when we do Stunning Blow, we want to juice the next ability, which is Death Blow here. We're going to take the cooldown and the damage collection here. So these cooldowns line up nicely together. Da Vinci's Courage, I like taking instant healing, especially if you're solo queuing, because sometimes you don't have a healer. And this healing right here really does help. It absolutely does. Will Breaker, as I explained earlier, we take that. Ascending Slash, everything except for Charging Slash here. This is also going to juice out the Guillotine that follows it. Guillotine always follows Ascending Slash, because Ascending Slash prones a target. Guillotine does more damage to prone targets. We want an extra second on the Ascending Slash. This is going to give us extra prone duration time on the target. Very, very important. We also want to take the cooldown time down to line this up nicely with our combo, have more uptime on the actual full combo. Devastating Smash here, I take the stun chance. I want this to land. I do not take this simply because I don't have enough points for it. And in Arena, you don't really need that extra 0.5 seconds, especially at the end game of tier 2. Guillotine Blade here, pretty self-explanatory. We are taking literally everything. Moving on to the daggers here, you're going to notice with Shadow Strike, I do not take Shadow Escape here. It is too expensive. When it comes to the Arena, yes, there is value in going in and then coming back out. However, I personally feel there is less value or less need, certainly less than open world, when it comes to this skill specialization in the Arena, and it's just very expensive. It's 10 points. So I do not take this. I still like to Shadow Step or Shadow Strike targets from maximum range, which is why I do take this. And Camouflage Cloak, I am taking the duration +2 for mainly the same reason I explained before, which is I need it because with my build, I don't have high uptime with buff duration. If you don't either, this trait would actually be pretty good. And the current cooldowns that I do have, this allows me to have my full combo back up before I come out of Camouflage Cloak. Because remember, in order for me to reset the cooldown on Camouflage Cloak, I need to kill a target within 5 seconds because that's how Tevin daggers work. Now, if you're in NA and you don't have the Tevin daggers or you do have high buff duration, you do not need to take this. You can replace this. You can save this. This is a 5-second skill this is a 5-point skill specialization. Specialization. You can take that out and put it somewhere else. I would recommend somewhere in the Greatsword tree. All right, next we're going to go over the masteries here. Now, when it comes to these masteries, what you have to understand is that these passives are only applied to that respective weapon and that respective weapon's abilities. For example, the melee heavy attack chance 100 here, it's only applied when I use a Greatsword ability, even if I have daggers out as my main hand. Okay? If I use a dagger ability like Shadow Strike, that 100 melee heavy attack is not being applied. That's how the masteries work. Now, when it comes to defensive stats, for example, all evasion 105, this is only applied because it's a defensive stat when I have that weapon out. So in order for me to have all evasion 105, I need to have my daggers out. As you can see, my evasion with daggers out is 2506. With Greatsword, it's 2400. Now, this is the reason why when we go into builds, we usually just see the melee. We take a look at the evasion with the daggers out, but we actually look at the hit that we're getting from the Greatsword and swap that because I am getting that extra hit from my Greatsword mastery, and that is being applied when I use my Greatsword abilities. Does that make sense? If that didn't make sense, just play it back. Hopefully it'll make sense the second time. When it comes to the Greatsword masteries, we're going to go all the way to the bottom tree. We want to take the melee heavy attack chance, prio number 1, and then we go to the middle line. This gives us an extra 0.5 second stun duration, which is fantastic, along with obviously the base damage, the melee hit, and all that good stuff. When it comes to the daggers, we take the top line all the way to mastery evasion, specifically for that reason. We want the all evasion 105. Very, very good. We want to take this, and we take the bottom tree all the way through this, especially with the attack speed. This is going to allow our dagger abilities to connect a little bit faster, and this is just the best option. Okay, so first let's talk about how we are going to actually play this class. First thing you need to understand is how you deal your damage, how you combo. Greatsword Dagger is a class where all of your damage is front-loaded into Guillotine and into Death Blow. You one-shot these people using these two abilities, or you don't. You don't really brawl. In the beginning of Tier 1, you brawl. So things like Valiant Brawl, especially if you take Cruel Smite, is a lot of value. Later on in the endgame, you are not. You go in there, you nuke, you blow them up, and then you exit. That is what Greatsword Dagger turns into. And you need to learn how to actually set that up. So first, we're going to talk about Death Blow, your nuke number 1. Death Blow is an ability that deals additional damage to stunned targets. Sleeping, stunned, bound, but mainly in our kit, stunned targets. So you always want to use this after a stunning blow. You can use it after a devastating smash as well, because devastating smash also stuns. But stunning blow not only gives you the extra stun damage on Death Blow, but remember, we took that additional damage boost skill specialization trait, giving us more damage on our death blow. That just hit for 27k. If that heavy hits, that's over 50,000 damage on a Scarecrow. Insane amounts of damage, right? So you're comboing off of a stunning blow, or an ascending, a devastating smash. Ignore the purple pools that are being spawned on the ground. That is because I have a 10th Greatsword, which I will also talk about at the end of this section. Next thing you have to understand is, or the next thing you need to know is Guillotine Blade. Okay, Guillotine Blade is your hardest hitting ability. This can AoE when it heavy hits or crits. Boom, there it is. Huge AoE damage, okay? Now, you always want to use Guillotine Blade when the target is prone. It's okay, like if your abilities miss or whatever, you can use it after a stunning blow, especially because stunning blows does still give juice to the next skill that's used, the next skill that's used after it, excuse me. But ideally, you want to use this when a target is prone, because that is when it deals maximum damage. As you can see, on prone targets, 975% damage modifier. So you always want to use this after an Ascending Slash, because Ascending Slash is the only skill in our kit that gives us the ability to prone a target. In order to use Ascending Slash in order to get Ascending Slash to prone a target, it needs to be done or used after a target is either stunned or bound in our kit, which is going to be from Stunning Blow into Ascending Slash into Guillotine. It can be Devastating Smash into Ascending Slash. That's option number 2. And option number 3 is Shadow Strike. You can Shadow Strike into an Ascending Slash. And you can also use your Precision Dash into a Ascending Strike. So Shadow Strike will look like this. You Shadow Strike, you Ascending Slash, you Guillotine, and then you can even Shadow Strike back out because of the skill specialization. And the last one is Precision Dash. Precision Dash, as you can see, also binds the target. Note that the first little manual dash on Precision Dash also roots the target or binds the target. And so does the second. Okay, both of them actually bind. So you have 4 options when it comes to getting your Ascending Slash off to prone the target: Precision Dash, Shadow Strike, Stunning Blow, and a Devastating Smash. You use those 4 options and you follow them up with an Ascending Slash, and it will prone the target, ground the target, and then you go into a Guillotine Blade here. That is the big dick damage. You learn how to do that, and you essentially know how to deal damage on Greatsword Dagger. Now, Valiant Brawl right here, this is just straight up a filler skill. Sometimes you might not want to combo them. You might want to deal some extra damage. There is also additional use to this. I'm not going to go into it. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just extra damage that you can deal on a relatively low cooldown. You have your Frost Cleaving here. This is this is more for you have your Frost Cleaving here. This is more for the open world GVG build, which is what we're talking about. This is an AoE 360 attack that deals pretty good damage. And I have my Da Vinci's Courage, which you can trait to heal you, but if you don't, this always gives you a 15% attack speed. As you can see, my attack speed in KR right now, you're not going to be close to this. 49% added attack speed. I use Da Vinci's Courage. That puts me at 64% attack speed, and that really allows me to do this really quick. I mean, that was very fast, right? I can also go here, boom, 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 death blow, yeah, and then the exit, right? I can stealth exit. So everything's really fast. Having higher uptime on your Da Vinci's buff is really nice because you get that attack speed. That is like the big value when it comes to this, because again, you're trying to go in, execute, and come back out. When it comes to the basics of this class, that's pretty much it. Sorry, I did forget Camouflage Cloak. This is pretty self-explanatory. You just go stealth. And Phantom Smokescreen. Phantom Smokescreen is an S tier ability in global, but it has been nerfed or fixed in KR. Phantom Smokescreen allows you to essentially evade almost every ability, ranged, magic, and melee. In KR, it no longer allows you to evade melee attacks. Originally, it did not let you evade melee attacks. and then it got changed to allowing you to evade melee attacks, and then it changed back into not allowing you. I think it was considered a bug fix because the wording on it says melee projectiles, and in order to get it to actually evade melee attacks, you need to take this skill specialization. As you can see, it says always evades melee projectiles. In NA, this still allows you to evade all melee attacks except for auto attack. There are select abilities like auto attack and judgment that you can't, where you can't, where it doesn't allow you to evade it. But for the most part, it does allow you to evade attacks, and it is extremely important. Which kind of leads me to the next section of this, which is your open world combo / engage. Okay, when it comes to the open world, you are going to be trying to land devastating smashes. So you're going to want to buff up. You land a devastating smash. You follow it up with a Gaia there, and that alone is going to be a lot of value because they're going to be stunned, and you can follow that up with a quick ascending slash into guillotine. If your attack speed is fast enough, you can do that. Otherwise, you might want to lose the ascending slash, and honestly, even fitting in a stunning blow to increase your odds of heavy attack for your guillotine is also a viable option. So you can go devastating smash into Gaia, into stunning blow, into guillotine. That's going to increase your odds of the heavy attack landing, which increases the odds of the AoE landing. You could do that, right? If you want to really make sure you execute the target that you're on, though, you'd probably go into ascending slash to deal that extra damage on guillotine, and that would allow you to reset your stealth if you're engaging from stealth, if you have a Tevent dagger, which most of you guys obviously won't have. So that's like a very, very basic bread and butter combo. What you could do, especially in stealth, you can go in here, use your Da Vinci's right here. You can Shadow Strike, a devastating smash, Gaia into guillotine into Shadow Strike. I was trying to say all the names. I was trying to remember all the names while I was doing it, and I just totally butchered that. But you guys saw that, what I did there. There's a basic combo. I didn't use stunning and I didn't use ascending there to be able to pull off that combo faster, because in large scale, that will be important, right? You will need that speed. Now, if you have a frost smoke screen, that could change as well, right? You can go Shadow Strike into devastating smash into a smoke screen and then follow the combo, and you can make the combo a little bit longer since you have the protection of smoke screen. But you can essentially go here, boom, 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 and that will be protected because you are protected by the smoke screen, and then you exit out. That's kind of what you would be going for in large scale. Now, the last thing I want to mention is, for those of you who are Greatsword Dagger users, you guys are probably feeling right about now, if you've done large scale PvP or GVG, probably feeling, holy shit, my class is actually not easy to play in large scale PvP, to the point where you might even be feeling worthless. Well, good news. If you get double Tevent, then that changes. Obviously, the ability to engage in stealth, execute a target, reset the stealth is massive value. That goes without saying, right? But the other huge thing when it comes to the Tevent Greatsword in particular is that every time you apply a stun or a collision, you will proc this little AoE pool that deals as much damage as your ascending slash. Pretty close to it, and it can heavy hit. You have the ability to proc a lot of these AoE little purple pools that can deal significant amounts of damage if you can group up targets. As you can see, there are 3 targets here. If I use a devastating smash, you're gonna see 3 pools that are spawned, and if they're tight enough, all 3 will hit all 3 targets if they're tight enough, especially if you're synergizing with like an SNS that pulls targets. Incredibly powerful. On top of that, the stun also procs the pool, and the prone from ascending slash when comboed off of the stun will also proc that pool. When you Greatsword Q parry, if you can perfect block it, it will stun the other target. That will also proc an AoE pool. The Tevin's Greatsword is incredibly powerful, and it essentially transforms you from being a single target bomber into a potential AoE bomber, right? And it's incredibly fun, but unfortunately you need the Greatsword in order for it to come online. Here it is. For those of you guys want to see it in all of its glory, it's fantastic. Our NA version is a little bit weaker than this. It does get buffed once tier 2 comes out, but there it is. There it is. If you guys are struggling with large scale PvP, if you're good at the class and you have the double Tevins, this class is incredibly, or can be incredibly powerful in large scale PvP. And that's about it. Let me know if you guys found that helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come catch me on Twitch, streaming literally every single day. A lot of throne content, and see you in the next video.